Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I finally got to watch Madam X after 2 years of waiting. I managed to get to watch it around 4:25 a.m. Sunday morning in Australia. I tried to watch it all day. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but I said I'm not going to bed until I see it. So it is now around 6:30 in the morning in Australia, but I saw it. And first off, this is not a documentary. There is no documentary footage, none of it. All those people who did reviews, who said they saw the film, lied. And I'm a bit offended by that because I read a few of these reviews and I believe these people, and I believe that there was documentary footage spread throughout the film, and it was all about her injury, and it dealt with all that. None of it was in there. There was one single shot of Madonna climbing up the stairs backstage before she starts to sing Batuka, but I think she starts singing behind the stage anyway. So yeah, just be very clear. So you're not missing out on anything. If you've seen the concert, there's nothing in this film that you haven't already seen. Now to start off with, I liked it. It was good. I don't have any huge issues. There was nothing that I hadn't seen though. Like, to be clear, I hadn't seen the original concert, and when I was criticising the concert for its staging and so forth, people were saying, well, you haven't seen the film, how dare you? And I'm like, yes, but I've seen footage of every single song that's been staged, and I feel like I've seen everything. And now that I've seen the documentary film, I did see everything. There was nothing except the coffin. I did not see the shot of the coffin going across. I saw the projection of what the text and everything, but I never saw the coffin. When I heard about the coffin sound, I'm like, what coffin? Is she in a coffin? What? I didn't know what that was. That was it. There's people carrying a coffin across the stage with some projections on the background, and then Malik comes out and then he dances. But the bit before that I'd never seen. But everything else I saw, there was nothing I hadn't seen. The staging is very simple. They basically have three sort of changes of the set, which is basically just interchanging stairs, which are hollow, and sometimes people go in them, sometimes people come out of them. One's used as a cell for a minute. There's the circle that she does human nature in. They're all opened up at one point, and then it's like a bar with stairs and all that, so people can stand around and look down over balconies and that while Madonna dances and that. But it's mostly just projections over stairs, and although the projections are great, it's basically, there is a visual element, like a visual element that's like pretty much the whole film, the whole concert. A lot of Madonna's concerts ever since Drowned World have used a lot of projections, and these are often sequences, and then they got more complicated and they started to be basically all the way through. And because of the nature of this stage one, there's pretty much projections the whole time, and that is quite dense. And it works though, but it is very dense, and sometimes it's hard to really get a sense of the choreography and the dancing and the people in the actual concert. Now, editing. A lot of people had issues with the editing of MDNA. I didn't. Rebel Heart, I had huge problems with it because they just basically just did the same thing with Rebel Heart they did with MDNA, and it didn't work, so it was too frantic and too ADHD. This had a few sequences like that were too fast, and they took away from the staging and the performance, I think, because every part of, you don't get time to ever get a sense of people's movement and what they're doing and the emotion. It's all just, everything's cut. Every movement has its own cut. It's all structured and it's not actually happening in front of you. It's really hard to explain, but that's only a couple of sequences. The rest of the concert, they do vary the editing style and the speed for each song. It's not just all robotic, so I'm really relieved by that. Some are very static, and it's fine because so is the staging, and the songs are okay. You can just sit with them. You don't have to have the constant editing and constant energy and movement and everything in it. So that works. Relieved about that. The main thing that bothers me is that Crave is missing. And we knew that, but I thought they'd removed it because they put all this, that was what they said, they put all these little documentary backstage parts in there, and obviously if they were going to keep the running time similar or keep it to 2 hours, they had to take something out to put that in. Well, they didn't put anything in, so why did they take anything out? The film that I saw, the concert that I saw, went for 1 hour 57 minutes, and they had about 3 minutes of credits, so the concert itself was about 1 hour 54 minutes. So why couldn't they have just kept Crave in there, even if they cut it down a bit, because I'm not sure how long it was. Now I can't remember. I saw a version of it. But I don't see why they couldn't have kept it in and had the film be 2 hours or 2 hours and 1 minute. I really don't know why they took it out. It's really bothers me. Some people are saying it's copyright, she'd have to pay, that she couldn't afford. Well, I'm sure she could afford, but maybe she didn't want to. Maybe it was a legal issue. I'm not sure, but that's the main disappointing thing. And when I thought there was a reason, and it's kind of like Love Don't Live Here Anymore in Rebel Heart, I felt like they took it out to put in that sequence about Michigan, which just seemed out of nowhere, but other people saying it was copyright, it's the same thing. So I don't know if history has repeated itself, but there was nothing added into this. There was Madonna's speech from In Bed with Madonna, Truth or Dare, when she was in Italy and she was being cancelled by the Pope. That was a moment. I felt like they refilmed that, and she put on the glasses and did the makeup and filmed some of that, unless there were other cameras there that got better footage of that. But either way, there's just a little bit of that, and I don't know if that, I think that was in the original concert. There doesn't seem to be anything added. At the end, there's a little bit of James Baldwin speaking, which I'm sure wasn't in the concert, because the concert is Madonna walking out through the middle of the stage and going out the back doors, basically, and she's just standing there at the back looking at the audience, basically, at the end of the film. So unless they had that projected on the stage after she left, I'm assuming that was added. And it's just a quote, he's talking about popularity and art and so forth. The start of the film is interesting, because the start of the film and start of the concert and then the concert sort of bookend, where you have Malik in white suit, shirt, which everyone is wearing at the end when they all walk out, and he's sort of dodging or catching bullets and being shot down as like the symbolic sort of artist or writer, and they're talking about peace and freedom, and there's a quote or what she's typing, and I didn't manage to get it, but I forgot to line it up because of course I wasn't thinking, but I think this is it. No, that's the other one. But it's interesting. I mean, it's very much, there's elements of protest. You see a lot of footage of people protesting. It's very much the politics of now that are happening, which is fine. I mean, Madonna sort of deals with all the issues that are happening at the moment. And, I mean, like she says, she's been to the right, she's been to the left. The crime you discover you are guilty of is not much that you are aware, but that other people see that you are and cannot bear to watch it, because it testifies to the fact that you're bearing witness to something which everyone knows and nobody wants to face. Everybody's hurt. What is important, what drives you, torments you, is that you must find some way of using this to connect with everyone else alive. Artists are here to disturb the peace. So that is sort of typed out at the start and the end, and she does type at different parts. She types out a little bit of the sort of monologue-y sort of dialogue at the start of Medellin. She talks about having been tortured and still believing in humanity and trust and so forth. I think some of the best staging is when they do keep it simple, when they have, basically once they get into the Fado Club and Madonna's just sort of dancing in the centre of this room, and for the most part people are just watching, and then later they're sort of encircling her, and I think the simple staging is better, and also those ones had less editing and they didn't go overboard, they didn't ruin it, which is what I was afraid they were going to do. I think for me the best part is the Batuka women, and just that whole, it's just, I love it. I love the video, I love the song, and I guess the other part, Come Alive, there's something about the colour and the just how busy it all is, just visually, even though they're all just standing there singing, but the background is so interesting. I keep watching it. Like a Prayer is totally static. I mean, you've all seen it. Basically, there's the stairs creating an X, and the choir is standing on there in the shape of an X, and she's just standing on the stage at the bottom. She climbs up to the top and stands in the centre, all the while there's Like a Prayer, the video playing in the background around the X. So, and some of that really works. It's really simple. It's not overdone. And the fact they didn't kill it with editing, I'm really relieved, because, I mean, there's a fair bit of editing and a fair bit of moving, but it doesn't take away from it. The first sequence, the first part, where she's dressed up like Captain Cook, which is all I could relate it to. I guess it's some sort of Hamilton reference, because it's sort of going back to the Founding Fathers and so forth. That's what it looks like to me. I haven't really researched exactly what uniforms they made that out of. It is very fast for editing. They really were trying to... They went a bit overboard at the start, and I think that's what a lot of people had seen and thought was going to be too much. But then it kind of varies and slows down for the different songs, so it's not as much of an issue. And I've been talking for 10 minutes already, but I'm nearly done. The weirdest part for me was trying to work out what parts were reshot. Now, there are close-ups that seem like, how could they have gotten that? Did they go in and reshoot that? Did she dress up and just reshoot? Did she restage part of it? Because then there's other shots, because there's a inconsistency between the footage. There's footage that looks like it's video and others looks like it's real high def. And whether that was all done on the stage at the time, and there's just the contrast, or whether that was what they added in. Because there's parts that look like that, but then there are other parts where you see the whole performance. It's like, well, they couldn't have restaged the whole concert with everything and everyone. So some of these shots have to have been originally shot during the performance. So maybe they didn't do as much as I thought. It looks like they redid Frozen because she seems to be sitting and the performance is moved around her, and it's done with special effects. It doesn't seem to have been done on the stage like it was originally. And whether she was behind a screen, it was projected over her, or whether she was behind and there was a screen behind her, I can't remember because I didn't go back and watch it. And also, it's kind of difficult to tell with the way the lighting is projected, because using the different lighting, you can allow the image to appear on people, or if they're lit properly, you really just see it on the set behind them. So I'm not exactly sure. It looks like they reshot that. It looks like they reshot big chunks of the one where she's sitting at the piano, and I suddenly am forgetting the name of it. I have a lot of notes, but I cannot possibly read them all. I'm just thinking, have I covered everything? I think I've covered everything. Yeah, Frozen was beautiful. Yeah, I'm surprised they used a little bit of footage, like a little montage of clips from it afterwards. I Rise was beautiful. It was very simple. She just came out. They all stood. They all held their hands up. They all basically walked out. They all shot down and then they all rose and then they all walked out together. The simple staging, I think, is the best. And it was all pretty good. I don't have much more to say. The human nature section, the editing was sort of too fast through that. Like I said, the first couple of numbers before it sort of slowed down the first time, and then the pace sort of varied more. But that's not a huge criticism. I don't have much criticism to say, other than that the people who were telling me, "Oh, you haven't seen it live, you don't know. It's amazing. It's brilliant. It's revolutionizing. Concert footage and theatrical performance." I'm like, no, it's really not. It's good, but it's not doing anything I haven't done before. Haven't seen done before. And people were literally telling me, "Oh, you haven't seen the show. You're missing stuff. You don't know what you're talking about." And now I have. There was nothing I hadn't really seen. A couple of individual staged elements that I didn't see, and some close-ups of things that I didn't really notice. Things that were given emphasis that didn't really show up when you're just viewing the whole stage, and that's about it. So it was good. I enjoyed it. I'm a little anxious about having my own copy because no one's talked about a DVD or Blu-ray release, but considering they're trying to get people to stream it like crazy, if they are planning a DVD and Blu-ray release, like towards Christmas in a couple of months, they're not going to say anything right away because they want people to focus on streaming. And then once the exclusive period has sort of ended, which I have heard mentioned, I guess if they're going to do it, they're going to mention it, because you can't put streaming in your stocking for Christmas. And I think if Madonna is kind, she'll give all her fans a nice Christmas present and allow us to buy the Blu-ray, which is what I'm hoping. Otherwise, I'm going to have to get it some other way, which fans always will, because they did it with Blonde Ambition, they did it with the Virgin Tour, they did it with Reinvention, and we'll do it again with this if we have to. But it'd be nice to just be able to buy it. Because I haven't bought the album yet. I think I'm kind of protesting. I'll buy the album when there's a CD, because I want there to be some physical media. She can't abandon it. She's always sold that well, and not just records, which are for the collectors. But so yeah, I finally saw it. There was nothing I hadn't seen. I agree with everything I've said about it. I'm really happy that the editing didn't ruin the performance. It was a bit too much in some scenes, but the rest, it really adapted. And the best parts were when she just stood and sang, like when she did that the Fado song. I forgot what it's called. It's very short. It was nice. It was short and sweet, And it was those moments that I thought were the best. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything that I'm going to think about afterwards and go, why didn't you mention that? But I'm up to 14 minutes, nearly 15 minutes. I can't do any longer than that. It's too long. I got like 2 pages of notes. It was nice when the kids came on for Express Yourself. Vogue, you know, that was good. It was very much like the Pride performance. The Secret Agent section was a little bit paranoid and everything, but the whole idea of freedom was good. The idea of peace, the idea of resistance, that's very topical because there are a lot of people resisting things, Black Lives Matter and so forth. Overall, I loved it, but it was what I thought it was, and that's okay, because I never had bad thoughts. I was just arguing with the people who were trying to make it bigger than it was or more than what it was. But I'm going to go before I get to 16 minutes. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think. Bye.